First video, we're going to look at drawing out our scene, and we're going to draw it on our paper first before we put it on our canvas. So lay your canvas down to one side of the paper. Just make sure you've got plenty of room to one side for colour mixing. It doesn't matter whether it's to the left or the right. Tracing around the canvas onto the A3 paper. So we're going to draw a rough outline onto the page before we start putting anything onto the canvas. Just having a look at where my horizon line might be. I'm not going to draw it in yet, but the horizon line should never be in the middle. It should be slightly above or slightly lower. I'm just going to switch to black and white to see if it's easier to see in the video. So I'm starting with the first house. I'm drawing kind of like a square shape that's leaning to one side for the roof. This roughly about a third of the page, where the top of the roof would be a third of the page from the top. And a line underneath. And I'm creating kind of a triangle shape here, and this gives me my roof. Adding lines straight down for the walls of the house. So the house is sitting on a slope, kind of like on a small hill. So the second house here is partially hidden behind the first, so I'm not going to draw in all the house. Adding a square shape. And drawing a triangle shape to one side. This is for my gable end. I'm just coming back to the first house, and I'm just drawing a line kind of straight across. And I'm going to add in the third house. Basic shapes again. I'm adding in a basic triangle shape behind this house to give the impression of a tree, and I'm just adding some curvy lines where the snow might be on the tree. I want to create a focal point in the distance here, so just put in a slope, and I'm going to put a small house in here. Because it's in the distance, it's going to be much smaller than the houses that are in the forefront. I'm adding some hills behind this distant house, and this will be my horizon line where the land meets the sky. So I want to add in my chimney detail. It sits down into the roof. I'm going to add in some windows, and it's just little basic shapes. You can add as many windows as you like. You don't have to do as many as I'm doing. It's completely up to you. You don't need much detail, just an outline, because you're going to be transferring this drawing onto your canvas, so there's no need to put in any shading or colouring at this stage. So coming down to my foreground, I want to add in the riverbank. Because the moon is behind these hills, the shadows will fall to this side of the house, shadows for the houses and the trees. I'm just lightly marking it in because where my moon goes will determine where the shadow falls. So because the moon is so bright, there's going to be reflections in the water. So I want to mark in where the houses will be in the water, the ones that can be seen in the reflections. Marking in the tree as well. I just want to erase that line a bit. I want to put in another line where the river meets the bank. give the impression of water, I'm just going to do a kind of curved loopy line, like zigzag lines, and that's a very technical term, drawing right across the bottom of my page. I'm just erasing any lines I don't want, especially on the chimney. Oops, I forgot this hill in the back here. And now to add the moon, and it's quite large at the back here. There's a template included, but if you wanted a larger moon, you could use a circular object. This masking tape or the bottom of a bottle thing with a circular shape that's the size you want. So move it around the page and get an idea of where you want your moon to be, but be aware you will have to change the shadows of the houses if you move the moon. I think I'm going to make my moon a bit bigger. Okay, so now the rough drawing is ready and I want to transfer it to my canvas, and I want to draw it very lightly on my canvas. And don't worry if the drawing isn't the exact same. I drew this very heavy onto the canvas so it could be seen in the video, but you can draw it much, much lighter as it's very difficult to erase anything off your canvas.